Coming to you from Rockingham, IPL Radio.
All right. Now, we have a special guest. We have Gavin Baskerville. Gavin, are you there?
I am. How you going, Brendan? Lovely to be talking to you.
Absolutely fantastic. Gavin, so, all right, you've got a Fringe show coming up, which I think opens tonight.
It does indeed, yep.
Okay.
3 big nights.
You're doing 3 shows, yeah?
Yes, that's correct, yes, with the Fringe World, yeah.
All right. Now, is this the first time you've done Fringe?
No, I've done a couple of shows over the years, but it's been, I think, about 6 years since I've been back to Perth. I grew up here, but haven't performed in the Fringe for about 6 years. So it's very nice to be back in this lovely, sunny, hot weather. I've been based in Hobart for the last 17 years, so it's nice to be warm
You know
again.
what? I actually, right now, I envy Hobart because look, Tasmania is beautiful. Tasmania is beautiful.
It is. It's stunningly beautiful, yeah.
I've been here in Perth now for 6 years. I spent 29 years in Melbourne, and I'm wondering if I made the right decision when I moved over here because the heat is just absolutely intense here. Melbourne, when they say in Melbourne you have 4 seasons in one day, it's very accurate. Quite often I would wear a leather jacket because in the morning and take it off for a couple of hours in the afternoon and then put it back on again in the evening because it was just crazy weather.
Yes, you had to be prepared. I lived in Melbourne for 5 years. Same thing. It's like whenever you leave the house, you've got to make sure you got your jacket and your thongs and your hat and your sunscreen.
Exactly. All right, now before we talk about your comedy, I want to know about Fat Cat. Tell me about Fat, because I remember when I was a young child, it was primary school. I think it was grade 5, grade 6 it was, and grade 6, and we had my art teacher was a guy called John Jones, and John Jones also appeared on Fat Cat. On weekends, and it was probably a Saturday show, I think.
Yeah, right.
And which was probably the Early Birds or something, and we had to, we had done some sort of art thing, and John Jones had got the name of one of the students wrong, and so we got to appear to make it up to us. We got to appear on the Fat Cat show.
Oh my goodness!
So we're talking, must be 1981, I would say.
Wow. Okay.
So we're talking Fat Cat before Fat Cat came to Perth.
Oh well, no. Well, Fat Cat was it was pretty much embedded in Perth through the 70s and 80s, possibly, or even the 60s, I think, even probably earlier. But they were sort of locally. I think they had locally produced sort of Fat Cats in all the different states. So WA's Fat Cat used to put us to bed at night, and it would be there in the mornings when if we had a day off school. We'd have Fat Cat and Friends, which I think was recorded in Adelaide, and he was always there, old Fat Cat. What can we do without him? There was a few other characters around at the time. We had Percy Penguin as well,
Percy,
and
yes.
Yeah, and then Channel 9 tried to chime in, and they had Flapper the elephant, I think, and then Brindley the cat. So they all had each station had its fluffy mascots.
Yes.
They're iconic and part of our childhood.
Well, see, I don't remember the other characters there. I know that in Adelaide we had Fat Cat and we had Humphrey B. Bear. And,
yes. Oh, yeah. Humphrey was there. Yep.
I was more. I liked Humphrey when I was growing up, but Humphrey, I don't think he actually exists anymore. I think it's just.
I think it's because he doesn't wear any pants. Maybe that's why he doesn't exist.
Yeah, I think that's always a bit of a giveaway. At least Fat Cat had pants. We got to give him credit for that.
But Fat Cat actually got cancelled in Adelaide because no one knew if Fat Cat was a boy or a girl.
Oh, Oh, that's no good.
But in these days, it shouldn't really matter.
Well, it should.
But isn't it funny that that's what they were worried about, not the fact that we called him fat? Like we were body shaming this poor old.
So tell me your involvement with Fat Cat. Come on.
Oh, I don't really have any involvement other than just growing up with him. He's just iconic as a memory of growing up in Perth, and the fact that you were on Fat Cat is to me is incredibly impressive, because growing up anybody on TV was famous. Like, so even, getting your donation read out on telethon by one of the people from one of the cast of Country People. That was the height of fame as far as I was concerned. So anybody that got on TV, my sister had a colouring in picture she'd done, or a drawing she'd done, pinned up behind Fat Cat on Early Birds for years, and I was incredibly jealous that she was famous by having this picture in the background on Early Birds. So it's funny how your perception of fame changes over the years.
Yeah, but you mentioned calling in for the different for telethon, or in Adelaide we had the Channel 7 Easter appeal.
Yes.
And then here you have telethon later on in the year, I think it is. But
telethon and appealathon. Yeah, we had they were hugely popular.
I have to admit, and I do apologise, I probably owe a lot of money, but back when I was younger, it was what was it? What was it? I'm trying to remember the number now. I can't. I used to know the number anyway. But I used to call the number and hope to speak to whoever the celebrity is that was answering the phone at the time, and I'd say, "Oh, look, I'm donating such and such." I never donated the money.
Oh no!
I was a kid.
Oh no!
I was a kid. I didn't have money.
Oh, now we know why Fat Cat really got cancelled. They couldn't afford him anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh dear, but I tell you what, the amount of work that I've done for charities, though, I think
the guilt's got through.
I think I've made up for it. I mean, I was part of the a celebrity auction with we had Sue Stanley, we had some AFL footballers and other celebrities that, people that should have been bigger celebrities than I was, but I still made more money through the auction than they did.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I raised the most money, but that was probably because I was a magician and I was a comedian, and I was also.
You were just pulling it out of thin air, so that's an unfair advantage as a magician.
But
I know what you magicians are. You get the money from the audience. I've seen you guys. I know how that works.
Yeah, we just make the money disappear. Okay, thank you for joining. All right. What about now? You talk about slip, slop, slap. I mean, I remember slip, slop, slap.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's different. Yeah. I think in Melbourne we didn't worry about slip, slop, slap because we didn't.
Well, it was weird because that kind of came in probably mid-80s. So I'm 50 now, so I was sort of a child through the 80s and into the a teenager in the 80s. Well, but so the slip, slop, slap sort of came in, but prior to that, well, even after that, it was just a rite of passage that every summer you'd go out and get sunburnt until you went crispy. Like it was just until if it wasn't peeling off as like paper, then you hadn't had a good summer. Well, which is terrifying when you think about it, but that was the way it is. But we'd put a little bit of zinc on our nose for some reason because that had to be protected. I'm not sure what that was.
Bright coloured fluoro zincs.
Yes.
But we had, the reason that we would allow our skins to get red is because after that you're tanned.
Most people.
Well, supposedly
you tan. Some people did.
But what about now? I'm just looking at what Triss has actually given us. So what's this forget fry flake? What is that?
Sorry, what was that one again?
Forget fry flake. So before slip slop slap.
Oh no! That was just. So this is the article I wrote for the Scene Street. I think I just made a joke that instead of slip slop slap we kind of. Yes. We sort of we had our own version of it, which was basically just fry and flake. So.
All right. Now, this next thing I've got written here, chucking boondies.
Bundies.
Now, so Cheryl, do you know what that is?
Hard sand rocks that when you throw them, they just go and explode everywhere.
Okay.
And it's pronounced bundies.
Bundies.
Yes.
And
There was a soil company. I don't know if they're still around. A landscaping company that were called Dirt and Bundies. They were based out in Kenwick or somewhere, I think. So Bundies was a very. I didn't realise until I moved interstate that wasn't a common word. People looked at me like I was mad when I said, "Remember chucking bundies?" And I went, "What?"
Yeah, the bundies. So I grew up in WA, so.
Yeah, because it'd be a sort of annual event that your dad would get a delivery of yellow sand, and all the kids would come around and be throwing sand at each other, and getting bundies in the air, and that was all part of the fun.
Yeah, getting sand when you don't want sand.
Now, this next bit we're going to talk about, this is something I actually miss. I really miss this. I used to love doing this as a kid, and I'm turning 53 next Friday, and I have a 2.5-year-old son who I want to do this with him. I want him to experience this, but catching taddies.
Oh, the good old taddies, yes.
Taddies, tadpoles, baby frogs.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, well, again, like I wrote in the article, and back then all the roads weren't sealed, and we had open ditches down the sides of the roads, and of course that come winter, that was where you went catching the taddies. So that was about as exciting as it got, and we'd capture them and put them in a little jar with a lid with some air holes in, and throw some grass blades in, but they still died.
Well, we were in Sydney, and my brother, we went to the creek, and we got one, and we put it in a fish tank. Forgot about it. Yeah. And we forgot about it. I mean, we fed it and everything, but we just thought, oh, it's a taddy. And then it was funny because it jumped out the tank when it was a frog. And it scared my nan, because my nan was visiting from Western Australia, and she visited it and she screamed the house down. It was like, Nan, it's a frog. Michael was never allowed to go and get one again.
Mine never survived that long. That's when I realised I wasn't suited to having pets.
Well, my little boy, Alfie, last year, because I go and I see him 3 times a week, but I was picking him up one day, and all of a sudden I'm sitting there, I'm getting him ready to go out for the day, and I saw this little frog jumping through the lounge room, and I caught it, and that frog stayed here at the radio station for about 2 weeks, and then it kind of got buried at sea.
I thought you were going to say he worked up through the ranks and now he's our general manager.
Well, no, I gave him a decent burial. I flushed him down the loo, but anyway. But how do you tell a 2.5-year-old boy that his first pet, lasted 2 weeks, if that, and I mean, you just can't tell that the dog.
Well, to be fair, 2 weeks to a kid is a very long time, so they'd probably be fine with it.
Well, I went out and I bought this cage, I bought this tank and everything for this damn frog.
Oh no!
And I was feeding it. I bought food and everything for it.
And you didn't just replace it with another one?
I tried.
Pretend that it never.
I tried, but in the end,
just put a Freddo frog in there and say, not doing much today.
But they melt. But no, I just said to him that I had to let the frog go. It was nice. It was better to let the frog go. I didn't tell him that I let the frog go in the toilet and flush the button.
Hopefully he's not listening now.
All right. Now tell me more about your show. Let's talk about Golden Gav Time.
Yes, so it's a full-length Fringe show, 55 minutes of me with a whole lot of observations and silly gags, and a little bit of a different show to what I've done before. I've usually sort of talked about growing up in Maddington and all that sort of stuff. I've got a few other things to talk about this trip as I'm getting older. But yeah, it's all about, you know, life, the universe, and everything. Where we're all coming from, relationships, and you know where we find our ethical line to live in these days, and all that stuff. So it's but lots of gags, lots of silly gags. If you like puns, I'm very good at, you know, getting some groans out of the audience. I like doing that. But there's it's a pretty fun show. I did it last week in Hobart, and they really enjoyed it. So I'm hoping that the Perth audiences will embrace it just as much.
I think they will, because they'll relate to a lot. Because I've just giggled just looking at some of the stuff we're talking about.
So your show is going to be talking about things from when we were kids, yeah?
Oh, there's a bit of that. There's a bit of everything. I actually sort of talk across the generations, from the, you know, we're talking all from the millennials through to the boomers. Everybody gets a bit of a go tonight. So I've made sure it's you know, everybody's got something they can relate to, I hope.
Yeah,
that's always the aim. Make everybody go away happy.
Well, you know, you just said you're 50, so you're about 3 years younger than me. But now, when I was in early primary school, I think I had my own. I think I encountered sex ed for the first time when I was in young primary school. There was a TV show. You're going to remember. You might remember this one.
Where did I come from?
No, number 96.
Oh, that's.
Oh gosh.
Abigail. Yeah, hang on, give me 2
seconds. Oh, wow, okay.
Abigail.
Right, that's an awakening.
Yes.
Look, it was a great show. It broke a lot of it definitely broke a lot of rules.
Yep.
But do you remember that? Do you remember that show?
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, it was, I wasn't allowed to watch it, obviously.
Well, we weren't allowed to watch it, but the way my parents had the lounge room set up back then was their main couch was in the middle of the lounge room with the TV in the corner, but behind the couch there was a door which led to the lounge. The hallway, which led to my bedroom, and so my parents would be sitting there watching number 96, and I would be standing at the doorway watching as well. And then we were talking about it back in school.
Oh my gosh! Well, you're very advanced.
You're
very advanced. I had to wait till I was a bit older and they started screening Chances. So,
I think
Tammy McIntosh, who I believe was a South Australian as well.
Year 6 and 7 in primary school, where you sort of learnt all about that. And then my mum gave me the book "Where Did I Come From."
Oh gosh!
And
that was another classic.
There's actually a movie called "Where Did I Come From," which is like the pictures of the book on film.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh gosh!
So yeah, that's what I remember.
Yeah, too many iconic images in that one growing up.
But this.
I still can't look at a diving board.
Yes.
But number 96 though was one of those shows that, I mean, it had full frontal nudity, it had same-sex relationships, it had.
It was very woke for a time when apparently we weren't woke. But there you go.
it definitely there was definitely nothing held back in that show. But it was a really good show, and it's one of those shows that I think they should bring back. Obviously, of course. What were the names of the? It was Dory Evans and Herb, I think, was her husband's name, and obviously they wouldn't be in it anymore because they must be gone by now.
No, it'd be very well. It'd be 189 or something now, wouldn't it?
They'd probably
number 96, number 100.
Yeah.
But anyway, so okay, so where do we go if I want to go to see Golden Gav Time tonight? Where would I go?
Okay, well, the first place to go probably is jump online to the fringeworld.com.au and do a little search for Gav, and you'll find my page there and book through there. I believe you can get tickets at the door as well, so if you rock up, it's at the Shoe Bar in Yagan Square. So nice and central in town, and a lovely little venue there, and they've got a full bar and everything, and you can come on in and enjoy the show. It's part of the Laugh Resort, which is the monthly comedy room here in Perth, and they're a beautiful little place to come and see some laughs. And 7:30. for the next 3 nights only, and then I've got to go back to Tassie.
Awesome. So whereabouts? So you're in. So you live in Tasmania?
Yes, yeah, I'm based there now, but I sort of travel a fair bit with the job. I mean, it's a nice job to be able to travel, have to, get on cruise ships and do all that sort of stuff. I'll talk a bit about that tonight. Yeah. I travel around a bit, but lovely to be based in lovely Hobart, which is a very pretty, lovely place to live, and travel from there. Not much work, but it's good. I can just get out and do the work and go back to a pretty place, so it works out well.
Tasmania is just beautiful. I haven't been to Tasmania since I was about 11, but no, hang on.
No, it hasn't changed.
No, it was. It was later than 11, but it was just the most beautiful state. It was probably the most beautiful state in Australia.
It's kind of silly. Like it's so pretty. Like everywhere you look is crazy, and it has hills and things. Because growing up in Perth, which is very flat, I lived near. Grew up currently in Maddington near the hills. But the hills, of course, are just like a speed bump when you get to Tasmania. Yeah. So over there, I'm enjoying having sort of views and mountains and stuff around, so it's a bit different to where I grew up. But it's nice to come back to Perth and have a nice big sky. So there's always something, yeah. And a beach, and you got a nice beach. Well, you got beach. I've actually got a very nice beach near where I live in Tassie, but you can't swim in it; it's too cold. So you come to Perth to swim.
But in Tasmania, you can tie people to a rock and let the waves hit them. But no, Tasmania is beautiful. It was always my favourite place to visit here in Australia, and I'm pretty sure we covered every square inch of Tasmania last time I was over there. We went to Hobart, Launceston. We had friends over there that, and so we stayed with the friends in Hobart, and then we stayed there with 1 week, and then the next week we actually stayed at the Penny Royal Gunpowder Mill.
That's still there. Yeah, and it should let the listeners know too, if they haven't been to Tasmania, that the jokes that are told about Tasmanians are made up by the Tasmanians to keep people away. So you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. They don't want people to go in there. They like it being nice and quiet.
So there's no one with two heads there?
No, unfortunately. I moved there as a travelling hat salesman. Was very disappointed.
No cousins, sisters, brothers, sisters, wife.
well, there's probably a little bit of that, but we don't talk about that. Yeah, it's all relative.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Gavin, for your time. And
thank you. Lovely to chat to you.
And chookers for tonight. And
yes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And so that was.
And I believe you guys have had a little competition on the Facebook page as well to win some tickets.
How are we going to?
Yeah, you need to draw somebody.
We'll go and find out.
All right.
I'm going to go and find out.
Because we do have a radio play that we have to, or a musical that we have to play, because tomorrow being the anniversary of the 64th anniversary of Buddy Holly, Big Bopper and Richie Valens' passing.
Yes.
We have the Buddy Holly musical to play, so and that so we're going to have to play that, but we're going to have to sort
that all out. We can do it online. We'll talk to you then.
All right. No worries, my friend. Well, I don't know how...
Thank you so much.
All right. You take care and enjoy.
Thank you so much. Bye.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. So that was Gavin from Golden Gav Time. Make sure that you go along and check him out tonight. All right. Meanwhile, we will play this musical. This is Buddy, the Buddy Holly story.